Yeah, the Independent Film Festival of Boston, which started this past Wednesday, and it's running through this coming Wednesday. So it's like a week-long engagement, and it's at the Somerville Theater, it's at the Brattle Theater, it's at the Coolidge Corner Theater, and it's like this citywide thing with the independent film, and all the filmmakers are here, and the writers, and a lot of the the big critics come out and like are attending this thing, and it's a fun thing, and it opened on Wednesday, like I said, and it opened with a movie called The Haulers, and The Haulers is directed. It's the directorial debut of John Krasinski. Most people know John Krasinski from Jim from The Office, and he's done these things, and he's done a bunch of other movies. And so this is the first movie he's directed, and it's like a hometown boy. Guy's from Newton, you know what I mean? And it's like his film's opening night of Independent Film Festival Boston, and everyone's kind of excited. And you go in there, and
wait, was he there?
He wasn't there, and I'll get into that in a moment. But for lack of a better word, this movie was bad. Really bad. Really, really bad. And it's an unfortunate, and this is a movie, it stars John Krasinski, not just directs. It also has Richard Jenkins, Charlton Copley, Anna Kendrick, Charlie Day.
Really?
Yeah, pretty nice cast.
Pretty nice cast, you know what I mean? And this
Charlton
is
Copley alone could have played all those other roles himself.
Exactly.
Maybe he should have. And this is it's written by James Strauss. James Strauss, he's directed the movie Grace is Gone. It's an older film with John Cusack, and he's written a bunch of movies, and he actually wrote the movie Lonesome Jim, which was like played at the Independent Film Festival of Boston years ago.
I remember that.
Regardless, this is a movie of this guy who's kind of at this dead-end job, and he comes home because he hears his mother has a brain tumor, and so he's forced to kind of go back home, and then in perfect like Sundance, genre trope type way, he goes home, and then he's forced to deal with like the ex-girlfriend that he left, and like his family that's estranged from him, and dealing with all these feelings of like, yes, I left, but I'm not quite living the job I wanted to, and now I have to be with being back and seeing all these people, and I have all these mixed things, and all this emotions coming a different way, and it's so bad. It's done so poorly, and you can tell the acting. I mean, well, it stems from the writing, and it starts with that story. And James Strauss kind of specializes in this, going back to home and like reliving all these like emotions and stuff like that. And unfortunately, Unfortunately, every time there's any actually real emotion, anytime something really, harsh comes away, like, your mother suffering a brain tumor is kind of a big deal, you know what I mean? But it's always peppered with these moments of really poor timed, bad jokes to interrupt any sort of like real emotion, to force you like, yeah, you might start to cry and get a little weepy because that's what it is really bad melodrama. But then it's like peppered with like this really bad comedy, these really ill-timed jokes. And that's part of the problem. The acting, I mean, it's just a result of really poor writing, and the directing is just a result of that as well. And it's just like he has these really bad zooms at really awful times, and he just doesn't have a way with the camera. Doesn't seem to know where to place it. Doesn't seem to know about the pacing. And just really
known for being an actor, not a director. Is this like a first time director? Like
this is the first time to director. I don't know. Like usually people, you can tell right away if they have a grasp with filmmaking. And judging by this first movie, I would say he has that. And whether or not something he can grow into and get better at, I'm sure that's a thing too. People grow and get better at doing different stuff. But like he seemingly doesn't really know what he's doing. You know what I mean? So it's more than just growing pains. It's just I think it's just a bad film. Period.
All right, so Adam gives it a matinee. That's rough, dude.
But it's it's got scenes where it's like this twangy emo score, and then he goes and then he sees his favorite spot when he was a kid, and it's just this tire swing, and then he gets on it and he's swinging and it's playing the music, and it's just like, are you serious? Like, come on, like it's just really bad. It's good for an episode of The Office when he's like does that really knowing look into the camera and stuff like that, but it doesn't really
emotion right there.
So that was the opening night film, and they didn't have a Q&A. They didn't have anybody from the movie.
No, I can understand why they didn't.
Well, and that's the thing, people are like, oh, maybe we're staying away, but it is a curious choice because a lot of the times, and especially with this festival in general, they do have someone someone from the film representing the film to talk about and take Q&A, especially on the opening night. And when you think about this movie being John Krasinski being a hometown guy, his first movie, you would think that maybe somebody would be there, if not him himself, to represent the film. And from what I understand, I think that was what they thought. I think that was the intended thing with this movie, and that they maybe have strung them along and then kind of backed out at the last minute. So I think the idea was to have someone there, and then it just really didn't work out.
I'm sorry to hear that, dude. You would like to see like hometown cats at the very least do well because they represent.
Right. Well, I mean, I wasn't really looking forward to the Q&A after that anyway, to see people like lie through their teeth,
so
or actually
question,
see people saying, "I really enjoyed it. It really was all this emotions." And it's like, no,
you're lying. You're lying.
Yeah, you missed it if that's the case. But the second night, I did get out to see
film stock.
The second night I did get out to see, it was a movie playing. It was like kind of the after hours thing. It was at 9:45 at the Brattle Theater, and it was kind of it was a very dark turn in terms of, like, if you're going to see a movie like The Hollers, and the next movie you see is this one I'm talking about right now. It's called The Eyes of My Mother, and it was by first time writer director Nicholas Pesce. And this is a dark film. And this is like, it's shot in this stark black and white film stock. And it's like, when I say it's dark, it's like, it's really some haunting, troubling stuff. And it's hard for me to talk about without revealing too much, because the pleasure of this movie is like the reveals, like the slow burn reveals of what's going on. It's not a really long movie either. It's about 80 minutes long. But I will say it takes place on this isolated country farmhouse out in the country, and it's a mother, father, and a very young daughter. And then all of a sudden, a stranger comes to the door and asks to use the bathroom. And from that point on,
you hear,
stuff is put.
Sorry,
not quite, but things are put into motion that leads to one big reveal, and this horrific, just like very troubling, like disgusting turn of events that you're just like, wow, and you don't think it's going to get more messed up, and then it just does slowly, and it's creepy, and it's
was it a horror, or was it
a suspense horror film. It's definitely like horrific. It has films of like necrophilia. It has touches of all this really horrible, and it's just basically this young girl who basically witnesses something very horrific, and then her growing into an adult, having experienced that, and then dealing with her own deep, dark side as an adult woman in an isolated environment.
So it's the
and then what could pay?
biography.
Yes, yeah. Actually, it's but like not funny at all. So to say that was a highlight, it's just like, it's a very dark film, but it was good, man. And it's been a while since I felt that like generally creepy. You know what I mean? It was like this eerie, and it was beautifully shot though, and it wasn't just like it wasn't poorly done. I wouldn't say it's tasteful, because there's nothing tasteful about it, but it's just it's shot in a very artful, beautiful way, and it's just amazing when stuff is that creepy is also, can kind of move you in some weird way. And
creepiest thing since Norbit, you'd say?
Since, absolutely, yeah. Or anything Eddie Murphy nightly nice.
Something like that is just amazing. I'm a firm believer, without a doubt, you are not truly a fan of anything if you don't support the indie scene of whatever that is.
Why are you reading from a script?
Without a doubt. If you are not a fan of if you are a fan of music, you can't be truly a fan of music unless you support the indie scene. Yeah. Same thing with pro wrestling, of course the same thing with film.
Yeah. See, the first one I went to, it was years ago, and I saw they had a little pamphlet I picked up from like Newberry Comics. I was like, I was new to the city at the time. It's probably 2005, 2006. And
Before it broke your spirit.
Yeah, so I went over to the Somerville Theater. It was the opening night. It was on a Wednesday then as well. And it was a movie called Lonesome Jim, and it was directed by Steve Buscemi. And it started like Casey Affleck and Liv Tyler. And so I went over and somehow got a ticket. Some guy that had bought a ticket earlier said he couldn't go, and he went up to there was a giant line to buy secondary tickets if they came available. So I ended up buying this guy's ticket. I went in there and sat down.
You scalped the ticket, man. You know you did.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I didn't scalp it. I bought a scalp ticket, perhaps.
That's what scalping entails. You paid. It just didn't come from
No. He didn't scalp. He purchased.
He purchased.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
The seller is the scalper.
You purchased a scalped ticket. World of difference.
Like the hot ticket to watch some indie movie in Somerville. Yeah, it's not like
hey man,
Bruins playoff game or something.
Dude, cats will scalp tickets to anything. Okay, I once saw a dude trying to hawk ticket to a grist.
He only had one, and it was already torn open. Regardless, whatever. So I went.
Oh wait, you got the open box ticket to the film festival? Is that what's going on?
Leave it alone.
So I went to the party.
Perfectly legal, just bought in the back alley.
So I went to the party afterwards.
Cash
anyway,
only.
are you done?
No cops.
Jesus. So I went to the party afterwards, and then Steve Buscemi was there walking around, and I ended up, rubbing arms with him. So like we sat there, shooting the stuff, and it was great. And that's what happens with
does he look like that?
He's a smaller guy than you would expect. He was kind of hobbled over, just really
damn, because he looks pretty Gremlin-esque on film.
He was very low key, and I didn't notice because he was kind of standing behind me, and I bumped. I was like, oh, excuse me, yeah. And it was
like, dude, you was Mr. Pink, dude.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I was like, you're Mr. Pink. He's like, yeah, I know him. I was, wasn't I? Yeah. It's like,
oh wait, was he pissed at that?
No. I mean, he directed the film. Everyone's kind of bumping him, but that was the first thing. That's the only thing I could get. I was like, you're Mr. Pink. Yeah. I love you. But that's the thing. Like they'll have all these, directors and actors, all coming to the city of Boston to,
Well, that's cool, man. Give them the URL again. The cats want to scalp the ticket of their own.
IFFBoston.org.
Nice.
So that'll be it. If you or just go to the box office on any given day, there's a possibility to get in.
Yeah, check it out, yo.
But definitely buy ahead of time just to be safe. But it's cool to just go over there and hang out if that's your thing. But
man,
it wasn't a depressing breakdown of the festival itself because the festival is.
I was like, tell me about some independent film. You were like, Pat. It was death.
You don't know what I've seen. Yeah, that's how it started. Actually,
describe it.
It was a bit like that. It wasn't the festival itself. The festival itself is run beautifully, and I'm glad we have my friend Billy here. But yeah, last week we did cover a few movies, though. The Haulers, which was bad, and then The Eyes of My Mother, which was badly messed me up. It was a good movie, though.
Which movie? What was the second one?
The Eyes of My Mother?
I didn't see that one.
You didn't see? You need to.
I was probably working that shift.
You were working that shift, and that's why, this is just bleak black and white movie, murder and sex and nastiness with your parents and stuff.
That one played at the Brattle.
Yes. Yeah, it was after dark, obviously. So, but this week, it wrapped up on Wednesday. It wrapped up at the Coolidge Corner Theater, which is always a great theater to go to for independent film, and it's a perfect place for this thing to kind of wrap up as well. And the last two films that I saw were Little Men, written and directed by Ira Sachs. I don't know if you saw that, Billy.
I saw the second one.
Right.
The Don't Think Twice.
Don't Think Twice, yeah. And then I saw The Intervention, which closed the film, which I know you saw as well. So I can start by talking about Intervention. It was a good film. I thought it wrapped up the festival well. It was written and directed by Clea Duvall, which is... Most people would know her as an actress. She was in things like those teen movies like The Faculty, and She's All That. She was that type of actress. This is the first movie she directed. Yes. And she wrote this film as well, and a bunch of her friends are in this. And this is kind of like a buddy comedy, but it's kind of darker as well.
That's what I'm talking about, though. Bleak.
No, but
none of these were happy stories.
Some of the movies I purposely skipped because I didn't want to get put in a bad mood. But I thought the closer was better than the opener.
Absolutely, and that's I gave my review of The Haulers early, which I didn't much care about, but this was definitely
this movie made me sad to
this
be alive.
Definitely ended on a better note in terms of just the quality of film.
Yes,
and especially as another first-time director like John Krasinski, he's a first-time director, and he probably shouldn't do it again. But but Clea Duvall definitely seems to know what she's doing. She definitely has the chops to kind of make it in this business, not as just an actress, but as a filmmaker.
And I don't want to talk too greasy about The Haulers, but I'll say that he's a much better writer than he is a director because
I'll give him that.
He wrote Promised Land, and I was like, oh, if he's directing this is going to be amazing. Right. And it just wasn't really there.
So you actually worked this festival and everything like that. So I brought up last week that they probably had that as the opening night film because there was something scheduled. Maybe he should have been there. And it's like the hometown boy coming back to talk about his first film. Can you talk? Is there anything that you know that probably I don't or a lot of people don't, that the reason that no one showed up to talk about this thing?
I mean, I don't know what Nancy's choice was in having that be... Nancy Campbell, by the way, she's the person who kind of sees all the films, but and works at Coolidge. So I don't know what her choice was in picking that movie as the opener. I know it's getting put out by Sony And he is a local guy, but I heard he had a play in New York and couldn't be there.
Okay.
So I'm not sure why, I don't know. I'm still really not sure why that movie was chosen to open, but it was,
It is what it is, right?
It was,
Pat's favorite movie soon.
Man, what can I say? I appreciate a really good soul sucker.
yeah. It was,
No, but the intervention, Clea Duvall, this was great. This is it's 4 couples kind of going on this vacation, and the vacation's kind of planned by these 3 couples to have an intervention on the 4th about their marriage and the disintegration of their marriage, and they're trying to force them into, to push them into maybe having a divorce.
Right.
So it's like these guys coming together and kind of rehashing old times, but at the same time being like, hey, I think your marriage is failing. Maybe you should do something about that. And the pressures.
Family comedies.
Yeah.
Well, no, but this was actually really funny.
Man.
Yeah.
It was really funny and very
it had
I'm gonna
that.
take your word for it and not see it so I don't cut myself.
But it had that message, you know what I mean? And I think it's very true too. It's just like, don't go and clean out someone else's closet. Why don't you clean out yours first?
Exactly.
And that's what it kind of left. And Melanie Linsky, I thought, was fantastic in this. She played kind of the cloying.
Was the main character?
Yeah. Well, she wasn't the main. Yeah, she was the main
friend
who was pushing for the divorce
hilarious.
Yeah.
She was really funny, and she's really cute, and was just like awesome in it. And has a lisp, which I always find super charming.
You get that? Yeah, that's what you. Yeah, well. It also has Colby Smulders in this. Everyone knows her from that really bad TV show too.
Really bad? Well, no, she was Maria Hill from the Avengers.
That's true.
Huh?
Yeah,
But that's not a bad TV show.
No, I know, but I think that's where she's more recognized for
think so?
now than Auntie Robin. Yeah, Avengers.
She was also in a movie that played the festival last year.
By the same producers.
By the same producers, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
By a local guy, actually.
Yeah, with the results. Yeah, she was
Yes.
in that. Yeah.
Yep.
So she's kind of like this TV actress, Marvel star, now indie darling.
I thought
Which,
she did
she's
a
great.
job. I totally believed her as a mom, and that type of just totally upset like character who didn't really want to be married anymore.
Well,
I
absolutely.
believe her.
Well, it's like anybody gets the pressure put on them by all their friends, like, hey, you have a problem. There's probably going to be some backlash there, and it's just kind of funny to watch that happen.
Right.
Wait, so are these standout performances you're mentioning, or are these just like folks that are in it that just kind of faded into the background?
I thought she did an awesome job where I believed it, like completely believed her role, because she played a very different role in the results last year. And I just thought, when she performs, I totally believe who she's performing as.
Wait, so did we actually find a movie that you'd recommend?
Well, yeah, I totally recommend the closing film. The opener, I don't.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, the opener I don't think was that good. Don't Think Twice was the one that played before the opener.
Yeah,
the
why
night
don't you go into
before.
that? Because I didn't see that one. I saw the one before that. It was like kind of a double feature. I kind of had to get out of there a late night for this. So this movie, Don't Think Twice, had Key in it from Key and Peele, right?
Yes. So you saw the first one, which I purposely skipped because I thought it would be depressing. The second one,
Which
I
it was,
saw,
but it was good. Yeah.
which was a comedy. It's about. I mean, I've probably got a little bit of bias to it, but it's a comedy about this improv troupe in New York, where you just kind of see like different dynamics where one of them ends up getting on a Saturday Night Live type of a show, and you see how all the different people in the troupe kind of react to it. One of them is his girlfriend, and another one is the guy who brought him in, who basically was the improv guy who said, hey, you want to be in this troupe? And he's the oldest guy in the troupe, and he's never really done anything. And the guy who gets it, what's his last name? Jordan Key? No, Jordan Peele is the other one. But it's
Michael Key.
Michael Key, yeah.
He's the one who ends up getting on the SNL type show, and he just kills it. You know what I mean? Like, it's really funny. If you know anything about improv troupes, it's very realistic.
So it's just kind of like the friends reacting to someone else's success. Is that it is, and kind of the bitterness that can kind of
and not just bitterness like necessarily. Some people just aren't. It's not for them. They're not really into fame, and people think that like if you get into some type of an improv troupe or some type of like it's like a person who like if you want to be a film director, everybody might think, well, why wouldn't you want to be in Sundance? Why wouldn't you want to get an Oscar? Why wouldn't you want to get this, that, and the third? And some folks might just be like, I'm just happy making movies. I don't care if
sure, just doing it. You know what I mean? Doesn't need the accolades and everything like that.
But so I totally recommend that. And it's a fun movie.
So you saw certainly probably a lot more films than I did. You know what I mean? So while we have you, what was the best film you saw? What was the strongest film you saw?
Best movie I saw, Night 2, was called Seed. It was a documentary about basically how I guess 80% of the seeds in this country or in the world are basically gone. And like different people from different parts of the world, people in Hawaii, people like Native Americans, people in Africa, people in India, they're basically trying to have like seed banks where they can, like replant like certain things around the planet. To try to get like, it's basically like an anti-GMO movie.
Right.
And I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
It's a documentary feature too, They did a lot with documentaries. I thought this festival and too, a lot more than the narrative features like that, which were still great. And I thought it was a great festival from my perspective. Obviously, you worked it. You got to be, actually part of it right now. So, of course, you're biased. But
I also think it is amazing. I've been to festivals that have sucked in the past. Yeah. And this is a very well-run, put-together festival.
Yeah. 14 years in a row now. This is kind of, it's starting to gain traction. I had so much fun. I thought the parties were great. It was, everything was done really well. And I think I saw Little Men before the one you skipped. It's from Love Is Strange director and writer Ira Sachs, which was fantastic. So once again, you kind of can go into this festival. You don't hear about a lot of the films, and then you kind of watch some that you didn't know you were gonna enjoy as much as you had, and you walk away elated. Absolutely. So I'm glad to have you on and to talk about this. I can't wait to pick your brain more.
Oh, and go see Wiener, folks. That'll be in theaters soon. Go see that. It's a documentary about Anthony Weiner. It's hilarious.
They couldn't get a better name for that?
Perfect title.
Also, High Rise.
High Rise, which is actually on demand right now. Yes. Actually, you can get that, which is the reason I skipped it at the festival, which was there. I skipped it so I could watch it at home,
That's going to be in theaters.
High Rise was incredible.
Yeah, it is
amazing.
It is good.
Looks awesome.
All right.
Well, yay.
Okay, thank you for the breakdown of the Boston Independent Film Festival.
Independent Film Festival of Boston.
Independent Film. Okay. So thank you for the breakdown on Sundance. So where can cats actually check out some of these films if they want to follow up?
Who knows right now, man? Like we said, High Rise played. You can get that on demand right now. Some of them coming out in theaters. I know they just bought a few of them. There's Morris from America is going to be out eventually. You just pay attention. You know what I mean? Pay attention. If you're into independent film, you'll know.
All right, be aware, y'all.
But so that was the films I want to talk about the film fest. So if you are still around Boston, you're still interested in seeing some independent film and supporting independent film, and this is your type of thing.
I still want to catch the last few days if I can, just because I know there was softcore porno running there. I probably shouldn't put it on there.
It was a China film. It was a China film, I think.
Man, I've got my ducks in a row. I know what's important here. All right, no, thanks, bro. If anyone's not from the immediate Boston area, is there a way they could actually get this information online?
I think it's iffboston.org.
IFF Boston. Okay.
Yep, I think you can. I don't know if you
I think that's what it was.
But check this stuff out, man. It's fun, and it's just like the beauty part of it. For most people, you don't see this stuff. It's not like like you've got 1,000 reviews of anything like that. You have really no idea what you get into. And so you're going to see a lot of these films, and you're like, your mind hasn't been soiled by a bunch of reviews or a bunch of, I heard this sucks and I heard this like that. It's just go and then you see the film first run.
Cool.
And it's great. A lot of the early premieres are here. So go see the movies, make up your own mind. I dare you.
You too can get the lowdown on the
God forbid, right?
Necrophile stories.
Yeah. You could be like me. Yeah.